good morning. It's Tuesday morning here in the UK. I normally do Ask the Drummer on Sunday or Monday, but I'm glad that our guest is actually available today, Tuesday morning, and I'm really happy that he's here. But, anyways, hope your week is going really, really well and exciting. It's just gone 3 minutes past 11 here in the UK. So it's 3 minutes past 6 in the evening in Manila. I hope some of you, my dear friends in the Philippines, are watching us live. If you can't make it, then you can always just catch up later when I upload this episode on YouTube. But anyway, so welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. With drummers, oftentimes you hear them saying, "Oh, I'm just a drummer." It's like when I started the podcast, I remember asking someone saying, "Please, can you get drummers to go on your podcast?" And I was told that no one wants to listen to a drummer, which is I find, I thought, well, I do, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear the drummers' stories and their life as well. So, anyways, our guest actually has written a book called Just a Drummer, which is amazing. I'm yet to get a copy of it. Hopefully, I will do soon. It just, I think that's the reason why I love drummers so much. They're so humble. There's always that humility. They're just a drummer. That's what they often say. But to be honest, he's not just a drummer. He's an author, uh, a team builder, a speaker, and he's actually a founding member of one of the bands we really love in the Philippines. So I'm really pleased he's agreed to do the show and he's here now. So, my dear friends, please welcome Mr. Tom Morley. Yay! Hello. Oh, sorry. Can I call you Tom?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. How are you, Tom?
I'm very well. I didn't know this was going out in Manila. Funnily enough, I used to work in some of my life, which you'll read about in the book, in backstage in the theatre in Drury Lane on a show called Miss Saigon.
All
And
right.
so there was a lot of women from Manila in that
Yeah.
show. And
Was it Leia
one
Salonga? Was it Leia Salonga who started
I
it? Or...
I knew Leia, but I also knew Janine
Oh,
Desiderio,
yeah, yeah.
and
Oh,
and
wow.
Janine and I were good friends. I actually wrote a song for her, which
Oh, my God.
she sang. It was called "These Crying Eyes," which she sang at a charity event in the same theatre on a Sunday,
Wow.
because Sundays used to be dark, as they say in the trade, but they let them have it for a charity show. It's a full house, and apparently Craig Revel Horwood was also on that show at the time. He was a dance captain, and he and I were chatting backstage. He said, Janine got a standing ovation for that song you wrote."
Oh, my God. That's amazing. Have you been to the Philippines yourself? Or...
I've never been there. No, I've recently befriended Janine on Facebook. She's,
Yeah.
well, a couple of years ago, and I'm going to write something about that song in the second edition of my book, Just a Drummer, because I left it out the first one, but it was quite significant. Unfortunately, because I was at the time, I wasn't even the drummer. I was a stagehand. Because I was just a stagehand, I wasn't allowed to go to the show. I was too lowly, so I never saw my song get a standing ovation. But anyway, I've imagined it several times.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, I'm glad that you're active on Facebook because I
Yeah,
do think that musicians should have a social media presence because I think it's, especially for fans like us, it's
yeah.
always good to sort of, like, see what you're up to and things. So that's where I found you actually on the I think it's a Scritti Politti fan page.
Ah, yeah, that's right. That's right. So actually, I'll tell you something. I met some of those people recently on the South Bank at a Scritti Politti gig. Green was downstairs, I was upstairs
Yeah, yeah.
with copies of my book. And one of them said at the end, he said, "Well, they say you should never meet your heroes, but you're actually quite a nice guy."
Oh. Oh, I
He
always.
said, and he said to someone else there, he said, "He's not disappointing, is he?" And the other person said, "No, no, he's all right."
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, welcome to Ask the Drummer, episode 216. It's all about you, Tom Morley.
Hmm.
You're a Londoner, I believe, born and bred.
No, my grandmother was East Ender, but she moved out down to the south coast, and I was born in Brighton. So,
Oh,
but I've lived in London much of my life. But yeah, I was born in
yeah,
Brighton.
yeah. What was Brighton like when when you were growing up, especially the music scene? Is there very much like similar to London that there's a
Yeah,
thriving music scene
yeah,
there?
we were lucky because there was a venue that people liked playing it. It was connected to the Brighton Pavilion, which is a kind of architectural folly
Yeah,
built by the Prince Regent for his to entertain his women years ago. So it's based on an Indian design. You know, he
yeah,
travelled in India.
yeah, yeah.
But part of that was a concert hall called the Dome. I'm not. I don't think it was built as a concert hall. I think it was built as a massive sort of stable, as I remember. Anyway, it was so people used to like to come and play at the Dome. So I saw Roxy Music there. I saw David Bowie there. I saw Pink Floyd there. So all sorts of people came to the
Yeah,
Dome. We
yeah,
were lucky. We were really lucky. So anything that came to London, we were pretty sure it would come to Brighton sooner than
yeah.
that.
So you've always been into music. Are you from?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because the you'll see there's a lot of tribute bands around. Oh, not tribute band. There's a lot of bands doing revival tours, and
Yeah,
people say
yeah,
why? Go, well, why is it? And it's because I think people like to see the music that they started having sex to when they were in their when they're in their teens. So it reminds them of when they were sexy, when they used to dress up, when they used to go to parties. So it's not rocket science.
yeah,
So yeah, so of course, I mean, I was born in 1954, so I grew up on the south coast in the 60s when there was flower power, there was peace and love, there was and I mean I'm looking out the window here now and it's blue sky, cumulus clouds. So it was like living in a psychedelic poster living in Brighton.
well, are you from a musical family? Are you?
No,
Um,
no, no, not at all. No,
no.
my parents met in the war. They're working class. They were just too busy looking after children. They had my eldest brother when they were 19. They just met in the war, in the Second World War. And my mum actually was quite artistic. She drew. I used to like
Yeah.
looking at her sketchbooks. My dad, I think, would have been. He was also a good draftsman. He worked in an architect's office as a kind of quantity surveyor. But so I think there was art was encouraged, and my elder brother was into music. He bought a kind of reel to reel. I'll tell you, he bought this reel to reel recording machine, and we used to try and do overdubs on it. It was 4-track tape, but only 2 tracks per side. So 2-track. We'd record 1 track, 3 minutes long. The song might be the Righteous Brothers, like You've Got That
Okay.
Loving Feeling,
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. And then we would just hit play again, sing the song again on the other track with the harmonies, but not hearing the track as you'd hear in the studio now, not hearing it. and we'd be in for about 2 minutes, and then we'd just start to waver, so we'd have to do it again. So consequently, that's probably why my timing got so good.
Oh, right. Okay. But have you always been into drumming though, or did you try? Did you try
No,
musical instruments?
no, I was going to be an artist. I mean, the thing about Scritti Politti is we met at art school. Green and I, the singer, we were going to be artists. We were talking about doing joint shows when we left, and
Oh, I
how
see.
to get in touch with galleries and stuff.
Yeah,
And then his mate Neil came to live with us. He was a nice guy, Neil. He and then we started listening to the Clash and people. Previous to that, we'd been listening to Captain Beefheart and all sorts of complex music, which we
yeah.
wouldn't have a chance of playing, like Frank Zappa and stuff. And then punk came along with punk rock, Clash, Sex Pistols, and we go, oh, I see, it's really simple, right? We could actually be a band. So that's how the band. And the thing is, Green could already play guitar, Neil could already play bass and fiddle, so we needed a drummer. So I did have what you'd call a bongo drum that a neighbour had given me in Brighton.
Yeah,
That she was using at the coffee table. She kind of heard us playing bongos at a party in our house. Said, "Oh, I'll give you this drum." So I did have that with me, but I never thought. I mean, funny saying I'm just a drummer. Really, I'm just a graphic designer.
So it wasn't really your intention. It wasn't like I've always, been tapping.
No. It's funny because I was at school with Pete Thomas from Elvis Costello's band. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were in the same year. We were good mates, me and Pete. We still are. And he tells this story. Yeah, I was always playing on biscuit tins. I was always playing since I was 4 years old. I wasn't. It wasn't even a musical decision. It was a political decision. We said we're going to reach more people with music than we will with art. And I said, but I'm really good at art. I've studied it for the last 20 years. What are you talking about? I don't want to be in a band. I want to carry on being an artist. But they convinced me politically, we'd reach more people. So I said, all right. And my dad was really bad at paperwork, and I had a full grant because we were poor. So I had survived with nothing for a term, and then he finally filled in the paperwork. So I got all my grant at the end of the term. So I had enough money to buy a drum kit because I'd already, lived on porridge and nothing. Luckily, so that's how I bought my first drum kit. It was by accident.
Wow. So no proper drumming lessons at all. You just taught yourself how to play drums.
Well, I tried. I set this kit up in my bedroom, but I was useless, absolutely useless. So what I did was I put the whole kit except the snare drum in the corner of the room, covered it in a blanket, and I just played the snare drum. And I learned some rudiments because in those days in the UK, if you were in higher education, then you could go to I was getting a full art school grant, but I was able to go to the music school and say, if you got any drum lessons, evening classes, and then I'd sign up for free. You could do that. I also thought one day, if we become a band, we're going to need someone who can drive. None of us could drive, so I signed up for free
driving lessons.
Driving lessons as well. Yeah. I wish I'd signed up for dental lessons because the teeth fell out.
Oh, right.
The other day I could have fixed my own tooth if I'd have paid attention a bit more at art school.
So in the old days, you can actually have those for free. You can just sign up in it. Oh wow!
Yeah, and do you know what? The funny thing is, we thought it'd be free forever. why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't education be free forever? And why wouldn't we always get a grant? Because what we thought was, um, society values us. The government thinks we're valuable to
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
So naturally, they would pay us to develop, and they wouldn't require us to do anything to justify it. We'd just go out and explore. Like one of our mates at art school, for a performance, got himself a tin bar and filled it with baked beans and then sat in the bar for an hour as a performance. And he got, he went to the people who handed out the money, and they said, well, what do you need this money for? Is it for canvas? Is it for oil paint? Is it for a piece of marble? He said, no, I want to buy 500 tins of baked beans and sit in them, and then throw them away, because he's going to eat them after I've sat in them for an hour. And they said, oh, fine, all right, we'll sign that off. You try. Here's the money. You try that these days. It's not going to happen.
No. Oh goodness. Oh, that was... So, you've never had any band prior to. So, Scritti Politti was the only
Yeah,
band,
yeah,
the
yeah.
first and only band you were in.
That's true, actually. Well, no, I've been in a couple of bands since, but that was
Oh, right.
it's the only significant band. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I, when I was writing my script, I had to sort of like Google it, and according to Wikipedia, you were like in Leeds University, all of you, and that's where you
Leeds,
met. And
Leeds Polytechnic. Yeah,
Leeds Polytechnic, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I think in that's all right. In the way of, you know, education trying to make money out of people, they call it university now, but it's a polytechnic. So the good thing was it was just it was just a kind of industrial block, like a kind of brutalist block, but they called Leeds the motorway city of the 70s, right? Which they thought was good. They thought that was a good thing. And so there's a motorway right next to us, a kind of sunken motorway in this sort of canal. And then over the other side, there was the university, and the university looked like a wedding cake. It was all marble and towers and stuff. So there was us in our little, and not only that, the art school part really was like a warehouse built on the side. It was just one big space, like kind of aircraft hangar, and so we just had to find our own space in there and start working. There was no, here's your little cubicle. It was, but that was it's really good for us that we had to do that, because of course there wasn't any space. All the second and third years, they wanted all the space. So when we turned up as first years, we had to go and sort of inch on the edge of someone else's who was in a generous mood that day, and then gradually they would let us spread out a little bit. And then once we claimed our space, as soon as the next batch of first years came in, we were going, oh, not here, mate. Go and stand in the corner. So so you really had to develop some character, and some kind of grit. Whereas at the university, where the Gang of Four were, they had a steak bar and all sorts.
Wow.
Yeah, they had everything over there. We had nothing.
Because I didn't know this, but Scritti Politti, when you were starting, like early 80s or late 70s, early 80s, you're very political. Like you mentioned it before, that
Yeah,
you're small people, because it's very different from the Scritti Politti that we love in the Philippines, which is very dancey and very sort of new way.
Yeah. We were. I mean, Scritti Politti. It was the name came from a book by Antonio Gramsci, Italian writer, political writer. He wrote it in jail. I mean, the kind of romantic view of it is he wrote it in jail, and he passed the pages bit by bit through the bars of the jail to be
yeah,
published because they didn't want him writing it. Because Gramsci wrote about something called hegemony, and hegemony is, excuse me, if you can control the common sense of a people, left or right, it doesn't matter, then you don't need guns, you don't need any intimidation to control them because they control themselves. For instance, an honest day's pay for an honest day's work, or you can't change human nature. Don't buy that hand that feeds you, which we sing at the Neil and I sing that at the end of a song called Hegemony, and that song is about controlling the common sense and how we should always be aware, even to the point. And Green especially put this in at the end. Rock and
yeah,
roll is here to stay, but can you dance to it? Which was the next bit of common sense. It was like the rebel common sense. Um,
yeah,
but but he was, Green was a very clever guy, and he was saying, look, we can't just criticize other people and the way they live. This is how we live. Rock and roll is, you trips off music
yeah, yeah,
journalists' tongues. Can you dance to it? Yeah, well, is that, where did that question come from, and why do we have to answer it? Because some of the best music you can't dance to. It's just
yeah,
it's too esoteric, But
yeah,
it
yeah,
hits you in the soul, makes you think, makes you feel.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, we were very political. I mean, that was the whole point of us coming into being, just to join the revolution and be part of the revolution, and in some ways lead it, because we were what they call a DIY band. So we made our own records. We didn't bother with, we went, we took our own acetates to the pressing plant. We
yeah,
did it. We did everything. Everything not to be part of um, the music business. I have to say, we had to do that a bit like art school, find their own space, because the music business didn't want us. Rough Trade turned us down when we went to play them our demos.
oh,
So we thought, oh bloody hell! And, we were really upset. We thought Rough Trade would like us, but they rejected us. So we said, all right. So we worked out a way to make us records ourselves,
yeah,
because John Peel liked us. We played John Peel some stuff before it was on record, and he really loved us.
yeah,
And then Rough Trade, Jeff, bless him, just phoned us up. Jeff Travers from Rough Trade phoned us up and said, look, I have to say, I made a mistake. You are really good. And this wasn't as a result of public opinion or anything. He just listened to it again. We left him a tape and he listened to it
yeah,
again. He said, I think I think those were his words. I made a mistake because Jeff was the one who played it
yeah, yeah,
when we
yeah,
went down there. So, but by that time we got our own little hand stamps done and everything. So we said, well, look, all right, why don't we release it together? Because it took a little time, we'll release it together as Rough Trade, St Pancras Records, so
yeah,
which was
yeah,
our record label at the beginning.
yeah. Well, and speaking of rough trade, because you mentioned earlier that you were at South Bank, where
Yeah,
Green performing Scritti Politti songs,
yeah,
and you were upstairs.
yeah.
Uh, do you mind me asking? I mean, why couldn't you have joined? And so, like,
I would
you were,
I would have liked to have joined, but I wasn't invited to be in the band, and I thought about it afterwards because one of the fans said, "Yeah, you should have been in that band." And the thing is, in the 80s, when he was playing with David Gampson and Fred May, I mean, I know Fred May, he's a brilliant drummer, and he is what Green needed at that time when he wanted to go, super pop, super electro, super slick sound wise. Fred was the man, and Fred got on very well with David Gampson, so they came as a sort of package. You needed that to create Cupid and Psyche. But
yeah,
actually, at the South Bank, they were doing songs from all his albums, and I could have played on any of those songs. I've seen video footage since, and also this really upset me actually that there's a story in the book about how when we recorded The Sweetest Girl on the CR 78 drum machine with Robert Wyatt from Soft Machine and Matching Mole. Robert was in a wheelchair at the time, so I was kneeling down beside him with the drum machine, and I was having to switch the buttons by hand, which anyone who's a musician who's watching this will understand this. If you switch them bang on the beat, then it glitched. But so you had to anticipate the beat, because it's like the fill had to line itself up, if you know what I mean. You couldn't just dang, like you can nowadays.
Oh,
it was too slow. The signal was too slow. So so consequently, it took at least 3 takes to get that. And Robert was so lovely, because Adam Kidron, our engineer, was getting quite impatient, and Adam was just saying, "Oh, let's just do it. I'll cut the tape. You know, it's taking too long, Tom." And Neil, bless him, was, you know, the peacemaker. He was going, "Look, we rehearsed it with you playing live drums, so just play it on the kit. You know, we had the kit there." And then Bert Green was going, "No, go and get it. He'll get it. Give him a chance." So eventually I did get it. And Robert, this is where Robert, complete saint, you know, he said, well, I learned to play it better every time. So and then he said, "Did you get that, Adam? You know, that was the only take I'm happy with." Adam was the engineer, right? So so it was like, yeah. And he kind of, I remember he gave me a wink, you know, and all right, we'll, you know, every take he did was brilliant actually. But then he claimed that was the best one when I actually got it right. But the reason I was upset is when I watched a bit of the footage back of that South Bank show at least at the set I was looking at, they played 2 sets. The new drummer did not play that fill. He just played a basic beat, pretending to be a drum machine. So I thought, come on, if you not, you know, do you not respect history? Or if you, but I thought, if you've not done your homework, you know, there's a bit in that, you know, it's a repetitive loop. I think it's, you know, 3 bars of this, 1 fill, 3 bars of this, 1 fill, and all he did was play those 3 bars round and round and round. I thought, nah, I can't. And I did contact Rodri, the band leader, when I heard those gigs were coming. I mean, admittedly, only through social media. I didn't hear back from him, but I said, look, if you want, because I know Rodri, we played at a wedding together a long time ago. I said, look, if you want me to just come and do 1 song, I'll come and do Asylums in Jerusalem, because it's got this particular drum fill in. It's very clattery reggae. I said, I'll just come and do that.
Yeah.
And the thing about that, you know, it slows down a little bit. And the reason it slows down is because I only have 1 snare drum. And so in order to get the ring out of the snare, I had a cardboard sort of mute circle that I had on the drum all the other time in order to get the right sound for the muted sound. So I had to go, and then I had to put this cardboard thing on really fast. So in any Scritti Politti early songs, when you hear anything like that, it's because I'm finishing the fill with 1 hand, putting the mute on with the other, and carrying on. But of course, he didn't need to do that. You know, it's all programmed into his machine. So So consequently, there's a few nuances that are missed through just giving it to a session player. I mean, I don't know. It may. Rodri knows what he said. Rodri's a very, very good musician. He'd have put the best band he could together for that gig, and I
Yeah,
don't know if they played together before, but I just felt, yeah, do you know what? I could have done that because I've carried on playing.
yeah, yeah,
I'm a good enough drummer to do it, but maybe Green kind of he wanted to dissociate from us all the past, all his old friends when he went pop, and but then someone said they heard him on a podcast recently, and someone said, "Do you ever see Tom?" And he said, "No." And apparently, Green said, "No, I don't. I don't know why. Really, I really love Tom. So
oh,
maybe we'll
we
get
might keep
together
touch.
over
Yeah,
the next year, and maybe if he does another gig, maybe I'll play it. Yeah,
yeah, because
I
it's a
think
shame. Because
I
even
know.
if it's just one or two songs,
I
the
know.
fans would have loved it.
I know. We would get.
Yeah,
I know now because I didn't value those times at all for a while. But meeting all those people on the South Bank and all the great feedback I've got,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know that we would get. If we were to walk on stage together, we would get a massive round of applause.
Yeah, well, hopefully it will happen
Mm.
someday, maybe next year or because I have seen Green Gartside at the Met in Bury,
Ah,
uh, and he had Alexis Taylor from Hot Chip, so like playing keyboards with him. So
okay. Well,
yeah, he's
yeah,
really lovely. He's very tall, very
he's
very
very
tall.
tall. Yeah, he can get. I mean, he can get whoever he wants to play with him. Obviously, he can get a better drummer than me. But like I say, if I think it would be a crowd pleaser. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the fans would have loved it because I have
Mm,
seen some comments from your Facebook page that
mm.
there's one. I think he's German. He said that in Germany apparently because of all the magazines and it's the same in the Philippines. We only see
Yeah,
pictures from
yeah,
magazine,
that's
so we
right.
don't unless we don't really know who was singing. And this German guy say that in Germany they thought it was you who was
They
so
thought
like.
it's me. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
because
know.
you're like the main, so like
Yeah.
the main person in the
Well,
picture.
well, the great thing is, were that gig to happen with both of us, I think Green's got bigger and I've got smaller, so there'd be no confusion. And also, most of my locks aren't really here anymore; they're a little bit. So
Oh,
I've still
you've
got a
still
few.
got it, yeah, yeah. But can I just ask you? So you left in 1982. Is
Yeah.
that the change of direction of the music? So like,
Well, I didn't leave; I was pushed out.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But would you, do could have stayed and played all these pop so like poppy
Yeah,
sound.
yeah. I was Well, like I say, I think Fred Mayer was the man because um he was good mates with Gampson. He's really into sound, and I was. I mean, I really was just a drummer. I was a graphic designer who'd learned to play
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for political reasons, whereas Gampson and Mayer, they were just crazy about getting the best sound. And Fred Green, I remember Green saying he wanted someone who could play, who sounded like a drum machine, but wasn't a drum machine, so
Oh,
still had a bit of feel.
yeah, yeah.
And I, I, I think I wasn't skilled enough to play what he needed at that time, and that isn't just sort of dexterity. I probably could have played the beats, but I wouldn't have had that obsession with sound. I
Yeah,
remember someone saying they visited them in the recording studio when they're meant to be fixing a mix. No, meant to be completing a mix for that album, which took ages. And they turned up wanting to hear the finished song, and they'd been up all night. He said there was a truck outside full of drums, right? And they'd been bringing the drums in and sampling them one at a time to get really crisp snare drum sound, and then combining them into this composite of snare drum sound. It's why everybody raves about that album,
Yeah.
from Paul McCartney to Elton John to whoever. They all love it for the sound. It's because you had three really obsessive people working on it. Green on his vocals. He wouldn't let anybody, this was before autotune. He would just
Yeah.
kind of really record them again and again and again. Gampson with his chords and Fred with his drum sound. I mean, it was
Wow.
just, I mean, that's why it still sounds good to them, and why everyone was so obsessed with it at the time. They were obsessed, and I wouldn't have been. I'd have just said, all right, roll the machine. there you go.
Yeah.
So, there you go. I think that's quite good.
That's
That's what I'd have said. And the thing is, in our family, because we were poor, we're four poor boys, and the whole thing was, nah, come on, what's all the fuss about? Let's get on with it.
yeah.
So that's
It's good enough and stuff.
I would not have a truck outside for the snare drums going. Come on, let's go and do something else. Let's go and build a bonfire on the beach. That's what I'd have been like.
After Scritti Politti, I mean, apparently you've done work with David Bowie and Madness as well. So you didn't stop. You didn't stop playing after Scritti Politti.
No, the thing was, there was something about the 80s. It was a boom time. The thing is, when you're living through these things, you don't know. But it was a boom time, so there's money everywhere. There's champagne. There was, whatever you wanted in the business for a while. And because I'd learned, I mean, one thing I did get obsessed by was learning how to program drum machines, which is, so I knew how to program Linn drums while everyone else they can work it out. But I found it quite easy. So that's how I got to work with Madness, because they wanted a Linn drum player when they were rehearsing. So, and then I got to, I got on really well with Clive Langer, their producer.
Oh, okay.
Clive was working with Bowie in the studio next door. So then I got to do some programming for him for absolute beginners and do some hand claps on the track together. And he's a really nice bloke, David Bowie. Yeah, because by then there was nothing in it for him to be aloof, or there's no status. He just wanted to get on with everybody. So and Clive used to say, it's really good having you in the studio, Tom, because you're in no way in awe of Bowie. You just talk to him like your mates. He said everyone else who comes in goes, oh, David Bowie, and then it makes the whole atmosphere tense. So it was just like me and David hanging out. If something went wrong or mics fell over or something like that, no, I'd just go and pick it up and replace it. Give it a tap. Whereas everyone, oh, David, I'm so sorry. So they liked me. They used to call me the Vibe Navigator, which I liked. I never came up with that. It's kind of client led, and let's get him in, the Vibe Navigator. So, but then I wasn't precious about anything. I just thought, I had a record deal. I had all sorts. I was doing music for TV ads with Mark Bedford and from Madness in their studio and that. So and then it all ran out, and I thought, oh, I see. Right then I'll just go and live in New York. So I went and lived in New York, and I was a furniture designer for a while.
Wow.
But then that's I didn't really need money in New York, because I had hair down, I had locks down to my waist. I bought some nice suits when I was well off, and I had these silver Italian suits. I could just walk into any club. They'd just go, oh yeah, let him in. I didn't pay for anything. I lived in New York for 2 years without paying for anything.
Wow. So So when did you start becoming a team builder or just motivational speaker? Was it
Well,
after all this music?
when that money ran out, um, I saw some friends of mine. Well, all right, I'll tell you a short story. Like anybody in the music business, you always have an option of having a nervous breakdown. So I thought it's time for me to have my nervous breakdown, and I really got into it. And I couldn't listen to music anymore. I didn't want to write music. I didn't want to be around musicians. And so I was working backstage in the theater in the dark, and just moving scenery. I thought this is, I've done it now. Everything's messed up.
Yeah.
And a woman, one of the dressers, used to come and hang out with me. There's always dressers backstage for quick changes in the wings. People didn't always have time to go back to their dressing rooms. And she said, one day, she said to me, "You don't know, do you?" And I said, "Well, you don't know what?" And she said, "Well, since a child, I've been seeing auras around people, and it never went away. And here in the dark, I can see everybody's aura. He's really fucked up over there, to be some actor or something."
Yeah.
And then she said, "But your aura is always really clear and it's always really calm." And that's why people, she said, "If you notice, people come and hang out with you just before they're about to go on." And it's true, they did. And then they'd go on all calm. And I said, "No, I don't believe in that. I'm a Marxist, kind of revolution, spirituality, forget it." Anyway, she convinced me to go on this retreat. And in France, in the Dordogne, which was kind of pretty much silent retreat. And there we were in, it was called the Spiritual Enlightenment course. I didn't know. I thought it was just a sort of quiet place to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, they took us through some exercises, one of which was chanting in a Native American sweat lodge at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's full of steam and everyone's naked. And then I came out of that, and it was next to this chateau where the rest of the retreat was. And they said, "Right, let's all go to breakfast." I wasn't enlightened or anything. I just thought, I'm glad I'm out of that. But outside there was a drum, djembe, African djembe drum. And I thought, do you know what? Seeing I'm here and there's no one around, there's no A&R people, there's no release dates, there's nothing. It's nothing to do with the music business. I'm just going to try playing this drum. So I closed my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was playing this drum. I don't know how long for, but anyway, I kind of felt reconnected to the groove, which I'd lost in my breakdown. And when I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by naked dancing people. Nobody else had gone to breakfast. And they said, "We've been waiting for a drummer to turn up. It's so great. You've been delivered by the sweat lodge." So I went from zero to hero in 5 minutes, and
Wow.
surrounded by naked people. So I thought, oh, you don't need, if you're a drummer, you don't even need any clothes. You don't need anything. All you need is the groove. So when I came home, eventually I just bought 100 drums, and I thought, all right, let's go and see if it works in the corporate. I tried it out in the corporate world. It did work. But I used to just go and do harmony singing. I learned some African harmony songs. I went out getting conferences singing. Again, people said, "How do you do it?" It was the same thing. Actually, the red thread is like that thing with David Bowie. They said, "You don't seem to care if it goes right or wrong." I go, "Well, I don't." Actually, no. I appeared not to care, but I'd learned how to always make it go right. I knew it was never going to fail, even if they thought it wasn't going to work, and the bookers thought it wasn't. I'd learned some,
Yeah.
I'd learned some ways to engage an audience, which is quite easy to me. I've finally come round to the idea that I belong on
Yeah.
stage. Um, so, but they kept, whenever they rebooked me, they'd say, "Yeah, we love that drumming session. Come back with the drums," because I had one drum, right, 100 people singing, one drum. It wasn't even mic'd up at that point. Um, yeah, come back and bring the drums. I kept saying I didn't have any drums. It was me. It's just me with a drum. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's raving about the drums. Come back with the drums. So I thought, I've I've just got to get some drums.
So you're still doing it though, because you've got your own website.
I've
And it's
still
a
got the
brilliant
I've
website.
still got the same drums. The my supplier, lovely guy called Ben Lawrence. He said, "I can't believe you've still got the same drum because other people play them. They break all the time. You have a way of playing them that doesn't break." But the thing is, when you grow up poor, you don't break your equipment. I'm not Keith Moon. You know, I'm Tom Morley.
Yeah, I mean, because you are, like I said earlier, you're very active on Facebook, and you do post
Yeah,
sometimes like, personal things, and
yeah,
'cause we have this view. I don't know if it's just me, but you know, sometimes you think that they're famous, they're musicians, they must have, they're like there's fame and fortune to be had of being a musician. You're on stage, people adore you and stuff. You
yeah.
must have loads of money, from doing that.
No,
But it seems like,
it's
yeah,
a complete illusion. I mean, the thing about the music business, I think this was the, it was the case in the 80s. I think it's still the case now. Certainly, labels like EMI and all those people. There might be 5% of their artists made all their money, or maybe 5% made 95% of the money. The other people, um, if they had Kylie or if they had the Pink Floyd, if they had someone,
mm,
that's their money. That's where they're making their money, and then everybody else doesn't make anything. You know, that was the case. But as David said to me, David Bowie, we were chatting one time, we were talking about going dancing, and I used to go to the WAG club a bit, and he would say. Yeah, I know. It was that song. I played him a mix that I did on cassette on the pause button of his song "Modern Love." And he said, "It
yeah,
starts. I don't want to go out. I want to
yeah,
stay in,
yeah,
get
yeah,
get things done." And he said, "That's the thing, Tom." He said, "I don't have time to go out. You know, we're just in here in the studio." Making music for people to dance to. They're the ones who are going out pretending to be pop stars, and we have to go home and get some sleep, so because we're starting again at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and so the yeah, a lot of people go out, and I remember also when our first. I think we got a song in at number 12. I think The Sweetest Girl at some point was number 12. And I remember I met the guy, the lead singer of the pop group in a club. He said, "Oh, Scritti, you can buy me a drink. You're all rich now." Oh, what are you talking about? We just signed on the dole for unemployment benefit, and I've got £2.50. I'm not buying you a drink. You buy your own drink, because we were all. I mean, I was charming about it, but we were all just pretending. Everyone's pretending. It's almost like actors. We all have to act as if we're more successful. And I've given up in the corporate business now. I used to pretend I was doing well. I'm doing terribly. I'm in debt. I don't have many bookings. Everyone thinks I'm absolutely brilliant. Feedback is always brilliant.
yeah, yeah.
I've had agents. I've had all sorts of. I'm on the books of all sorts of people, but I'm completely skint. I'm in debt. I'm 71. And to my doctor, I went and see my doctor. He said, "Oh, you're the retired now." I said, "What are you talking about? I'm just getting started with my next project, where I might make some money."
Yeah.
No, I don't. So, I mean, I can't talk for other artists, but I know a lot of them are in a similar condition. And even, she won't mind me saying this, Monique Roffey, who's an author, is a friend of mine, long time back. She saw one of my posts recently, and it was about this, about being broke
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
about not even, being late for a appointment because
Yeah.
I couldn't get an Uber because they refused me, and I couldn't use cash because someone had paid me for a book with cash that was out of date, so I couldn't even use that. Anyway, Monique wrote and said it's online. She didn't write to me privately. It's online, so she won't mind me saying it. But she said, "Yeah, in July I couldn't even leave the house. I was so broke." This is a woman who's put out, I think, at least 3 successful books. Mermaid of the Black Conch, and I mean, she's a very, very good writer.
Yeah.
Always see her on author panels, and she's very intelligent. Couldn't leave the house because she was broke. I mean, and the irony, you'll probably hear this as you speak to a lot of people. The irony is we represent the artists, the writers, the music makers, the film stars. We represent kind of English culture, which people, I wish I lived in London, swing in London. I wish. But
True. Yeah.
do we get recompense for it? Do we get, and then we had that whole stupid Brexit thing, which meant we couldn't travel abroad, we couldn't get proper visas. It trashed, Brexit trashed creativity in the UK. I mean, luckily we're still at it, but all kind of government policies that don't support, they close down. There's restrictions on clubs
Yeah.
because some neighbor complained about,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
dog getting upset. I mean, it's so we have to be relentless in our creativity in the UK, which is partly why we are so creative, because you have to find ways around it. But I tell you what makes me laugh, right? In the corporate world, sometimes you get these speakers, and they are from the corporate world. They're like a CEO who
Yeah.
gave up. He made all this money, 55, retired early, built himself an art studio, got all the best materials. Here's a picture, and then he gets applauded. "Oh, you're so brave! You're so brave to give up your." I mean, there's nothing brave about that. Nothing. It's embarrassing. Just go and dig your garden. Don't get on stage and say you're an artist, man. You're a CEO. You're a failed, useless, embarrassing CEO. Get off the stage. Leave it to the artists who've been doing it since birth. That's what I would say if I was on a podcast. Wanted to alienate a few people.
So, have you got anything planned? So, like, promote your book? Because
No, I tell you, I'm
got a
absolutely
new-
useless. I did that thing on the South Bank
yeah.
because I had a deadline. I put it off, and then 3 days before I went to a printer in North London. I said, "Can you print this?" And they said, "Yeah, it's an express run. We can do it." And I knew this from the old days of Scritti Politti. You can do this. You can go straight to the means of production.
Yeah.
And if you're gracious enough or desperate enough, they'll do it. So that's how I got. And then afterwards, I thought I started tweaking the text before I get it ready for Amazon and Ingram Spark. And so I'm working on it now. It's on this very computer I'm broadcasting on. So, but no, in answer to your question, I'm useless. No, it will come out. eventually people will be able to buy it, and then I'll go and do something else.
Yeah, so it's very DIY. So at the moment, you just promote it on social
Yeah. I'll show
media.
you. I've got some copies here on the floor. I
Yeah,
won't pick them up because. Oh, actually, why
yeah.
don't I? Hold on, stay there.
I will get a copy of it.
Yeah. Hold on. I can't hear because I've taken the headphones off. Here, let me
Yeah,
do
I
a bit
will,
of
yeah,
promo.
that's the one. So that's the
Tom
first
Morley,
book,
just a
just a
drummer.
drummer.
Is
And
it back to front on your screen?
no, it's fine.
Okay, good.
You know,
Look,
I
and
never
look, it says for green.
for green. Oh
And
wow.
I say, who introduced me to everything I needed to know, then set me free, which is a kind of benign way of saying he kicked me out of the band. But you know, I mean, it's
Has you
true
got it? Have you
because
sent him a copy?
I could have just been a drummer, and if I'd have stayed in the band, and instead I've gone on, I've done all sorts of things. So I'm kind of
Yeah,
grateful.
yeah. Have
And
you
look, there's
sent him a
pictures.
copy of it? Has he
No,
seen?
I gave one to Rodri at the South Bank. I don't know if he'll ever see it. He might. Look, there's a picture of us. Picture of us in the what in Camden.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
So it's full of yeah. I'd highly recommend it if you could get a copy, which you can't. Which
I will email. I
you
will
could
message you.
you can't get a copy. They're all on my floor, and I'm useless at posting them out. There's us at Marx's grave on New Year's Day. Karl Marx.
Wow.
Back before we went all pop, or before we went all pop. And here, look, there are some posters for the Sweetest Girl, which I did all the artwork in black and white, and then
Yeah.
did cut. And there, look, this QR code, which doesn't
Yeah.
work. It does work, but my nephew is in the print business, so I've got all these old posters and artworks and stuff. So we're putting together all those prints so you could buy them
Yeah.
printed well from old artwork, and
Yeah.
yeah. There we
No,
are. I like that picture. That's kind of us,
because
yeah.
all these so like are
That's
they
how
like
we appeared on stage.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think it should. I mean, what
That
about Rough Trade?
QR code. Yeah, I mean, if I could, like I said, I've got really bad ADHD, so I will contact them. I've
Yeah.
just got to get it finished, get it, get
So
it online, get it on
yeah.
Amazon, and
So this is just a trial run for now, and I think
yeah,
you
this is
there's only like
I
100 copies of it.
yeah, I got 100 copies. So these actually, they're collector's pieces, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I'll
yeah.
get you one. Send me your address. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'm going to sign it now because otherwise I'll put it off. How do I spell your name?
Oh, it's just ANN.
ANN.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on.
I will message you afterwards, and
No,
I'll
I'm
send.
going to do it now because I'll forget as soon as we get off this podcast. I'll forget. So
I wanted to ask you though, because your book itself is titled "Just a Drummer,"
yeah,
and like I've said, when I introduced you, I think there's quite a lot of drummers saying that. I know that Rusty
yeah.
Egan always, whenever he does his talk, he always say, "Oh yeah, people say I'm just a drummer," but you're not just a drummer, though. I think it is.
No, but I'll tell you how that came about. I did, after all the drum events I realized I was often the warm-up guy for keynote speakers, and so I thought, I get maybe when I work I probably get £3,000 £3,000 a session for drumming, and then I'm followed by this keynote speaker. I do all this team building, and then this keynote speaker comes up with a few slides and says, "Let me tell you how to build a team," right? And they talk for an hour with, quite pretty slides, just little mic, and they
Yeah.
get 10 grand, they get 10,000 pounds, and yeah, they don't do any work. They just talk about what I've just done, and very often when they're talking, I see the energy in the room drop. So I just turn everybody on, they turn them off, and they get paid 10 grand to turn them off. While they're leaving to go and some business lounge at the airport, I'm still loading the van, right? So what I thought was I would become a keynote speaker. And I kind of engineered my way into an agency to become a keynote speaker. This agency, they only dealt with keynote speakers. So I thought, great, I'm on their books. There I am. My picture's as big as everybody else. Booked on, booked on. So after about a year, I said to them, how come you haven't got me any gigs? You've only got me, rhythm gigs. And they said, well, you got to realize, Tom, you're just a drummer.
Oh,
So that is how this came about.
oh, I see.
And look, it's now you've got
Oh,
you've got
oh,
you've got a 99th copy.
oh, thank you.
So send
Thank
me your
you.
address because I'm going to put this over here. And I've even got an envelope. So
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
it to you.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of drummers. I've always loved drummers for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, I mean, I think I consider myself a frustrated drummer. I
Oh,
tried
great.
I tried learning it, and it's
Hmm.
not for me. So when you said that you didn't really sort of like tapping all the time and
I
wanting to.
didn't, but do you know what? I used to play. If there was a pair of bongos at a teenage party or something, I used to play,
Yeah,
and people would say, "Yeah, you've really got the groove." So sometimes I'd even just turn the music off so I could
yeah, yeah,
just play on my own. Or if there are other people drumming, they'd look to me to be the leader. I think it's something about ADHD. We experience life in patterns and we feel comfortable in patterns because otherwise our minds are spinning off all over the place. So we kind of take some solace in the groove. We sort of relax in the groove because it means we're just doing the same thing for a little while.
yeah.
so,
That's but you
so,
must be
so
natural. You must be natural though. It's in you.
I am a natural,
Yeah,
and the thing is, I think there's two kinds of drummers. There's ones who just want to show off. They'll go, oh look, I'm going to switch from 4/4 to 6/8 to 5/4, and now I'm going to throw in there. And then there's other drummers, and I used to go to Ronnie Scott's a lot because Ronnie Scott's back in the day, you get into for free if you had an MU card, Musicians Union card. You get it for free Monday to Thursday. Ronnie made all his money on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But he'd have to book groups for residency if they were coming from New York or New Orleans or something. So consequently, I saw a lot of drummers, and my favorite ones were just drummers who kept groove.
yeah,
In fact, everyone says, "Who's your favorite drum solo?" I don't even currently remember this guy's name, but when it came to his solo, as happens with jazz groups, they all go off and do this. This guy just kept playing the same beat, and occasionally he'd just play the bass drum a little bit louder. And he'd just go, and then he'd just look at us all and wink, right? Because that was his solo. So all he wanted to do was keep the groove ready for everybody to come back in. They wouldn't have to realign. They wouldn't have to go, what time signature is he playing now?
yeah.
And so there are drummers who do that, and there are drummers who say, look how I can get over there and over here. But you can't dance to it, nor do you feel particularly. I don't feel comfortable during drum solos. And you'll notice the rest of the band leaves the stage. They don't feel comfortable either. No, it's all a big mistake. Drum solos are a big
I
mistake.
love drum solos.
Do you?
I'm a
Well,
fan of drum solos, and I
oh well.
always say that every gig should have a drum
Oh
solo.
well, all right. I'm talking to. I'm going to go get on another podcast. So, but if you read anything by Mickey Hart or listen to, there's a great. I'll send you. There's a podcast by Mickey Hart or an audio book about
Yeah,
him,
yeah,
and he talks about drummers in history and how um, we play the rhythm that the shaman travel on when they go to spirit world and retrieve
yeah,
something and bring it back. So we're like the Uber drivers of the spirit world because we have to be consistent. We can't go, I'll just have a look down this cul-de-sac. Otherwise, the shaman gets lost in the spirit world. This is serious. So you have to keep it consistent. You have to be there. You can't have a break. And then when they come back, you go, all right, cool, good. That'll be £15, please.
I've got to say first that Aidan O'Rourke, our tech support, he said that it's absolutely fascinating that you're pals with David Bowie.
Okay,
He's
great.
a big fan. He's a really massive fan of David Bowie.
Yeah,
And
he was a good guy, David. I mean, we really lost a lot when he left,
yeah,
and he didn't have to teach us how. He didn't have to, he didn't have to be motivation. He just had to be, he just had to. I've seen a number of people say, whether they knew him or not, how lucky I was to have been born out of all the centuries, all the millennia, all the time I
yeah,
could have been born. I was born at the same time as David Bowie,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think any of us, I'm
yeah,
getting goosebumps just thinking about it. We're
yeah,
blessed,
yeah.
absolutely blessed.
But like you said, you don't really get starstruck. I mean, another one that I saw is you met the Queen.
Yeah,
Is that when you were in Scritti Politti when you met?
no, no, it was after my breakdown. Oh, it's through Madness actually that
Oh my,
they
okay.
they were doing they were doing a concert for Teenage Cancer Trust at the Albert Hall, and
Oh,
as well as Coldplay and all sorts of people. They did a whole week of concerts
yeah, yeah,
for the Teenage Cancer Trust. And I said, "But look, I've got all these drums. All these kids are coming from all over the country just for the concert, but they come during the day, so they'll be there, and some of them are in wheelchairs, so they got to organize them." I said, "Why don't I do some workshops for them backstage with my drums so they get into the groove for the evening?" So
yeah,
first night we did that, and the first night I went out, watched the show, and they all stood up and got applauded. And I said to the organizers, look, they're good enough to open the show tomorrow night. We'll get them on stage. I'll train them up during the day. And so we did that for the rest of the week. We
yeah,
played on stage, and then the Albert Hall was so impressed. They said, look, we're doing the thing with the Queen. We're renovating. And when we've finished renovating, would you come and do that? Because that's one of the best things we've seen at the Albert Hall. They've had some great things, but they said it really used the space well. Would you come and do that for the Queen? So that's how I got invited back. And I got all these teenagers to come from all over the country again. We played for the Queen. And they so did a lot of other people. It wasn't just us, they had orchestras and stuff.
yeah.
But the Queen's Equerry came to speak to me when she was coming to meet everybody. And she said, no, the Equerry is a guy. And he said, look, she might come and speak to you as a group. There's probably 15 of us. But she won't if you look really formal or really expectant. So again, this is where my lack of reverence came in. I said to these guys, and I know this, there's a posture in Italy. It's Michelangelo's David is doing. It's called the contrapposto, where you it's a good tip for everybody.
Yeah,
You have your hips going in one way, so like that. You have your
yeah,
shoulders going another way, eyes going another way, and you look really casual. And so I just put a hand in my pocket, and I said to the other guys, right, everybody, contrapposto. And they said, what the hell is that? So I told them very quickly. So we're all just lounging around like this, right? And then, of course, the Queen came over because all these other people were standing there with their fiddles. And she was, I'm not talking to them. Let's go and talk to this guy. And I had a drum with me. And so she came to talk to me first. And she was asking me if they have a break when I'm playing them and stuff like that. So, and then she went down the line and talked to the other guys. So they were amazed, you know.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And you still weren't starstruck meeting the Queen?
Not particularly.
No.
I mean, she reminded me of my gran, actually. With her handbag and everything. But also, do you know what? I thought, because, you know, I'm not a big fan of the monarchy, but I do, you know, have some compassion for anybody in their work. I thought, you know, a lot of her work, she probably doesn't enjoy it much. She has to go and meet people. So I thought, let's make it easy for her. So I thought we were doing her a favor with our contrapposto pose.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.
Giving her a few minutes off.
So you've never been starstruck at all in your, there was no particular maybe musician, actor, or anyone?
I wouldn't see the point. I haven't really got time, you know.
So, I mean, after Scritti Politti, then, any other band that you were in apart from collaborating with David Bowie and Madness, or? No,
nobody you'd know of. You know, I played with friends at parties and stuff.
Yeah.
But no.
So, but
I mean, the thing is, people said, "Why don't you go and join another band?" But what they didn't understand was Scritti Politti. You know, we formed to be part of the revolution. We didn't form to go and play songs about being in love, or we didn't care about any of that. So as soon as I wasn't in a band playing to overthrow the state and take over the means of production, I wasn't going to go and join some wimp who just wrote some bedroom songs in his sixth form. You know, forget it. That wasn't. It was like it wasn't even a choice. I was happy to work with Madness because I liked their songs, you know, and they became good friends of mine. But again, it was like just helping my mates out with some drum programming. Yeah. And obviously, if David Bowie asks you to do some hand claps, you're not going to say, "Well, how political is this song? Let me see if it aligns with my personal philosophy on how we should be changing the world, David." I'll go. Yes, I will.
And you still have that? Do you still have that with you? That it's got to be political, and that's
no. I mean, the thing is that everybody, if you watch the commentators talking about people in employment, you know, I don't know which generation it is. I lose track, but you know, the more recent generations, they don't just want to do a job; they want to have impact. Simon Sinek talks about this, the speaker and author, and he says he was talking to someone, and they were saying, "Yeah, I'm going to move on from my job." And he said, "Why? You seem so good at it." He said, "Well, I'm not having the impact." And he said, "Well, how long have you been in the job?" And the guy said, "Well, nearly 3 months now." So we were, you know, we grew up in the job for life thing. You know, you come out of school, get a job in the local factory, and wait till you get your gold watch at 61 or whatever. So, we live in a different world. So, which I think is good. You know, I think it's good that people want to have an impact. They want to change the world, and they're going to hold their bosses to account. You know, so I think it's a good thing. So I'm in line with that.
Brilliant. Right. So no other plans for book events, and for now, for the time being, but hopefully in the near future you'll.
No other plans for what?
Book events for your.
I mean,
promote your book.
What I will do when it's available on Amazon, and do you know what? All right. So I got for years. I've been invited to school reunions. I've never wanted to go because I've never felt successful enough. You know, all these people, they've all run company. You know, I went to a school in Lewis, which was and it was a boys' school. I know they'll all be successful. They've all paid off their mortgages. You know, I'm house sitting. We can't even afford a rent. We just house sit for people. I've never wanted to go, but recently I lost 3 stone. I put on a bit of weight in COVID. Anyway, I lost it. So now I'm almost back to the weight I was at school. So I could fit into my old school uniform. So I'm going to go on the 9th, and I'm going to take a book with me. I'm going to take a color one of these, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing the next edition 2 is going to be in color. All these bits, it's all in color.
Yeah.
I'll go so my next deadline, my next event is to go to my school reunion in Lewis in Sussex with a color book. And even I know all those rich people, they're all going to be overweight, you know, because that's what. So at least I'm going to be thin, and I'm going to have a color book, and they're going to say, "Bloody hell, Morley!" They call me Morley. You haven't changed a bit, and I'll just say, "Well, you have. You look fat, broken, and you know, should be in the grave." So that'll be my revenge. For having been a failure all my life, and for them to be successful, I'll just, you know, maybe.
Yeah, well, you're not though. I mean, that book, if you get it so like printed loads and loads of copies, and then get it so like promote it, and then get events.
Yeah, do you know what? I could if I became as famous as my friend Monique Roffey and The Mermaid of the Black Conch and all their other books, I too could not afford to leave the house in July. I think you're right. I think I've got a very, very bright future ahead of me as an author.
I mean, judging from the comments on your Facebook page and the
they love it. They love it.
Fan page. They just
they love it. Everybody loves what I do. You know, I get flown. I get flown to do gigs in parties in Ibiza. I get this, I get that. But the thing is, they're all one-off, right? And all that money, it goes into living. All these people that go, oh, we're going to tell all our friends about it. Nobody ever rebooks. Well, it's not true. Occasionally, maybe 5% of people rebook me. There's something about it. And I think it's maybe they have so much fun with me, and it opens up so much in them that when they go back to their normal lives, they feel terrible. So they don't want to be reminded of that. So they're not going to rebook me because they're just going to feel terrible again. I think that's the only explanation I can think of, because they become so alive, they become so creative, so expanded. Well, one of the funniest bits of feedback I got once from the circle that I did, it's quite a small circle. The CEO said at the end, okay, so I want to hear from all of you individually. What did you get from that? Because it went really well. And so people said, I felt energized, I felt engaged, I felt, oh, we're such a team. And one woman said, yeah, she worked in HR. She said, I was so inspired by that. I'm going to leave. I'm going to hand in my notice, and I'm going to learn to do what Tom does. And the CEO wasn't so happy with her, nor was he so happy with me. So so I think I never got invited back to that company.
No. Oh no.
However, I hope she's having a good life out there. I'm sure she is.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I better go. I know you got other questions, but it's 20 part, and I said I'd meet someone at 12:30. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Just quick questions, though. Quick questions.
Okay. Yeah. Go on.
If you could play drums for any band or artist, which band would it be?
I play for Green at his next Scritti Politti gig. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed for that. And drumming heroes?
Well, like I say, I've forgotten his name. This guy at Ronnie Scott's who just played that solo and just played one extra beat a little
Yeah,
bit louder. That's that
yeah.
guy. That guy.
All right. And final question: what would be your advice to aspiring drummers out there, or
Well,
musicians in general?
I would say if the thing you need to develop right is autonomy of limbs. You need to be able to think. I'm going to do that with my right leg. I'm going to do this with my left hand, and you need that autonomy. Um, so, in the way to develop it, it's not the kit. It's if you drink with this hand, drink with that hand. If you open doors with this hand, open doors with that. If you clean your teeth with this hand, start cleaning them with that hand. You'll get toothpaste all over the mirror, but by the time you're not getting toothpaste all over the mirror and it's the same, you'll be a much better drummer. That's what I would
Oh
say. It's nothing to do with drumming. It's to do with developing autonomy. If I can be in the kitchen, right, and I can be frying something, I see something fall off a shelf, and I just keep frying. I just catch it and I put it back. So
autonomy of limbs. All right. Okay.
autonomy of them. So you do a lot less clearing, or you can clear the kitchen up twice as fast,
Yeah.
which is it's quite handy if your spouse
Wow.
is coming home and unexpectedly early.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Drummers are very good at domestic work, I have to say.
that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, and I will message you about that book. Thank
Do
you very, very much
send me
for
send me your address. It's right here.
Okay.
Quick
And-
and be quick because I might meet someone called Anne at the
yeah.
shop, and then I'll go. Oh, I've got a book for you, Anne. So be
Thank
fast.
you. Thank you so much. I hope to meet you someday
Yeah.
in the
I
real
hope too.
world. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I look forward to any book event, and I will definitely be
great.
there.
I'll let you know. I'll
All
let you
right.
know.
Thank you so much, Tom, and take care.
Take care.
Enjoy the rest of the day, and
Thanks.
see you. See you.
I
All right.
will.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone. I didn't realize that he's leaving early, but yeah, I've still got a few questions I wanted to ask him, but it was so great to talk to him about his life and Scritti Politti and his team building, and he's absolutely incredible. He's just sounds so amazing, and I really look forward to like meeting him someday in the real world, as I say. So right, that's it for today. For today's edition of Ask the Drummer. Thank you all so much and for joining us live. And it's amazing that he's got like what do you call this? So like he's worked with the Filipino musicians as well, Miss Saigon and everything. And next, I think next week it's going to be a Thursday when we do another episode of Ask the Drummer. And I can say to you now that it's a drummer from Copenhagen, a Danish drummer that I saw them play at the Spinning Top in Stockport a few months ago, and they're absolutely amazing. So he's going to be our next guest, amazing drummer guest on Ask the Drummer. Right. Thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you very, very much to Tom Morley for saying yes to Ask the Drummer. Hope to see you all again next week. As always, love music, love life, love drummers. They're absolutely amazing. And they're not just drummers, they're just the coolest people on this planet. And I just really love them. So that's it for me for now. See you all again soon. Bye for now. Bye.